Good afternoon and welcome to 12 and a half minutes, your fortnightly hit of hope, information and inspiration, brought to you by Elevator, one of Scotland's leading entrepreneurial and business support organisations. I'm Andy Campbell and I'm delighted to welcome you all to the programme. Each fortnight we go out live on Facebook, YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you're on any of those platforms, make sure that you like, follow and subscribe to Elevator for your very latest business and entrepreneurial support information. So we're now into month 9 of the lockdown and COVID restrictions, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's counting the months as they seem to just melt away and disappear. And we have all had to adopt to this as a new normal, whether it's Teams calls or Zoom calls. It suddenly has become the new way of doing business. And we've all had to set up our home offices, and whether that's on your dining room table or in a bedroom or wherever, we're all having to adapt to that. And even here in my office in Paisley, I've now got the green screen behind me. We've got microphones and cameras, and we're bringing 12 and a half minutes to you every fortnight. So we've all had to make those changes. However, I guess there is a degree of silver lining to some of the things that we've seen. And we've seen the rise of the home worker, the necessity entrepreneur. And it is a viable business opportunity for you if you're thinking about setting up your own business or starting your own business. Being a home worker, being a necessity entrepreneur is a path that you can certainly take. And you can grow your own e-commerce business. You could even become a best-selling author as well. And I'm therefore delighted to speak to someone who has taken that very path some time ago, winner of the Bloody Scotland crime debut novel of the year. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our guest, Deborah Masson. Deborah.
Hi, thanks very much for having me on, Andy. Coming live from my kitchen, all the messes over the back, you'll be glad to know.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear, Deborah. And we had the wonderful Stuart Cosgrove on a number of weeks ago. And Stuart, afterwards, as we were chatting away, said, if you're going to get anyone onto your programme, you've got to get Deborah onto your programme. So you come highly recommended, Deborah.
I think the £20 made its way to him safely. So thanks to Stuart for that one.
Well, that's awfully good to hear. Deborah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to talk to you in the run-up to the programme, and looking forward to talking to you a little bit more throughout the next 12 and a half minutes. But I'd like to start in our usual way by handing it over to you and having you give us a little bit of an overview on who you are, what you do, a little bit about your background, and then we'll take it from there. So over to you, Deborah.
Okay. I'm Deborah Masson. I write crime fiction based in Aberdeen. I'm a full-time mum, and my debut, hold your tongue, a shameless plug here, was published in Boxing Day last year. And it's been a bit of a whirlwind year, to say the least. And I'm now currently working on book 3.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's great to see you on the show. And can we just hold up that cover again there, Deborah, just to make sure that everyone tuning in gets to know what the book looks like. And I'm sure it's available on all good book outlets. Deborah, would that be correct?
Yeah, it is.
Well, listen, it'd be great to hear a little bit more about what got you started, a bit about your background, because you didn't start off necessarily as a career to be an author. This was something that has happened in recent years. So talk us through that journey that you went on, Deborah.
Yeah. When I was working, I worked in admin, marketing, had a stint in journalism. To be honest, my CV read a bit like a who's who. Could never quite settle in the job that was right for me. And then when I had my first child, I found myself at home full time. And as much as I loved motherhood, it was a shock to the system. And I needed something just for me to keep the old grey matter ticking over. So without sounding twee, I'd always enjoyed writing as a kid. So I decided that I would kind of turn my hand back to that. So when my daughter was napping in the afternoons, I started scribbling away just to use my brain, you know. Really enjoyed it, and that led me on to entering some competitions. And I was surprised when my first short story that I entered, I got second place in that competition. And that really spurred me on. So from there, I started exploring flash fiction, various things. I had some competition success. And I really started to believe I could maybe actually do something with this.
Yep.
So as my daughter grew, and then I went on to have my son, it was something that I kept me sane at home, you know. We went through some difficult times. You know, my mum was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Unfortunately, it came to the stage where I was unhappy in my personal life. But all through that, I started signing up for courses, writing courses. Initially, it was an introduction, a 6-week introduction to writing crime fiction, which is a path I wanted to follow because it was something I'd always read avidly. So I started on that course, absolutely loved it, got really good feedback. And that led on to a further 2 online courses through Faber Online Academy. Yeah. And I think over the course of about 2 years, it actually ended up in a first draft of what became Hold Your Tongue. But in that time, I went through a relationship breakdown. Mum was gravely ill, and it was a total escapism. And something that I realised I wanted to turn up to the desk and do that. No one was paying me. There was no guarantees. Yep. But it was something that I was driven to do, and I wanted to explore where it could go. For me, around family life, really.
Yeah, and as you say, a form of escapism. You know, it was obviously writing was something that came naturally to you as you had went on to those courses to build up on that skill set. It was a place where you were able to kind of find yourself, escape away from maybe some of the challenges you were facing in your day-to-day life, and develop other people's stories and other characters that you could be caught along with and develop and see how that goes.
Yeah, totally stepping outside your own life and into another world, you know, and exploring something dark, I guess, because crime fiction is, but I think it's all about exploring that darkness from the safety of your sofa.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask, what was the you know, the inspiration behind crime fiction as a genre? Because obviously we've got some fantastic Scottish crime writers that I guess may have acted as inspiration to you. We had Peter Mayo on 12.5 Minutes a number of months ago now, and you know, were you inspired by those works? Was it an avid genre that you would read yourself?
Yeah, love Peter May, by the way. But yeah, I had always read crime fiction. Mum and I used to pass back and forth crime fiction weekly and devour it. You know, if I found a new series, then I was just in my element. I never saw myself writing about my hometown, and then saw what Stuart McBride was doing, who to me, king of granite newer, you know, can't hold a torch to him, but it inspired me to, I can write about where I'm from, you know, and I can write a police procedural, and let's give this a go, you know. And to have managed to achieve that and succeed in the way it has, given everything, life's curveballs and all these things, it's just a dream come true, really is.
Yeah, and I guess obviously you've set your very first novel, Hold Your Tongue, in your local area. So I guess you were able to refer to the buildings, the geography, the architecture. What about the characters? Are some of those based on people that you've perhaps researched?
I steered clear of basing any characters on any real life people. I just thought it would come back to bite me in the bottom, so to speak. Purely fictional. But no, it was great to draw in a place that I know. Must apologise to some of the businesses in Aberdeen and the tourist department for all the murders. But yeah, it's great to be writing and bringing Aberdeen to the forefront, you know.
That's fantastic. And ultimately, you know, the world of writing is tough. It is a challenge getting that big break when a publisher says, you know, we'll have that, we'll work with you, and we'll publish that novel. That can be really difficult for some. That can be a journey of years, if not decades. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey into securing your very first publishing deal?
Yeah, when I finished the Faber online courses, my tutor, the wonderful Tom Bromley, if it wasn't for him pushing me through a lot of what was going on in my life. I don't know if I would ever have got to the end of that draft. So I'm eternally grateful to him. And he very kindly read the first draft, the full manuscript, gave me a bit of feedback, which I worked on. And then I was sitting one day actually on a balcony on holiday with the kids, and I thought, do you know something? Looking out to the sea, when you're on holiday and you actually look at your life in a different way and all the things you can do when you get home. It was one of those moments. And I thought, when I get home, I'm going to get up the courage. I'm going to send this out to 4 agents in London, and I'm just going to see. And to be fair, Andy, just to have had a bite from one of those agents, I think that that reassurance or the verification that you can actually do it, what you're writing is worth something. That would have been a dream come true if it had ended there. But no, within the first 4 agents, I think within 2 days of sending it out, I got a call from Ollie Munson at AM Heath in London, asking for the full manuscript, which I was in the fruit and veg aisle of Tesco's in Aberdeen, and dancing beside the watermelons. But that's a different story. But it was unbelievable, to get that bite. And then within 2 weeks, he was calling to offer me representation. So I class myself as one of the lucky ones. It was a relatively easy and very fast process for me. Ollie then put it out to an overseas scout, and within, I think it was a week or two, we had an offer, a preempt from Random House in Germany. So my debut is actually published in Germany next autumn, and it's a 2-book deal there as well. And then I think within another fortnight of that, Transworld UK had came in with a 2-book deal as well, which was just exceeded anything I was hoping for. It was just a dream come true.
Wow. And ultimately winning the award for your first outing. What did that mean to you, Deborah?
Amazing. And I think it was glaringly apparent by my acceptance speech that I was not expecting it. I went away and organised a 1.5 hour car journey for straight after the ceremony. Hadn't charged my phone, nothing. I was just, it'll be someone else, because I was up against 3 fantastic writers. But I'd always attended Bloody Scotland as a reader over the years, listening to my favourite authors, how they worked, what their inspiration was. And I dreamed of, imagine if I ever had a book out there. I was to get mentioned at this festival, just for my name to be on a poster somewhere, but to actually win that and, have that from my peers, really, was just, it was just out of this world. So special. It was a great moment.
Fantastic. And that's clearly given you the fuel to continue doing what you're doing. And you understand you've got a second title coming out quite soon, ebook launch this month. Is that correct, Deborah?
Yes. The ebook of Out for Blood, which sees us back with D.I. Eve Hunter and the team, still based in Aberdeen. That is out on the 19th of December, and then the paperback's out, November, and the paperback's out on the 10th of December. And I've recently just signed for a 3rd book in the series, which is fantastic. And I also pitched a standalone crime thriller to them, also based in Aberdeen, which they've picked up as well. So that'll be the next project.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds certainly that you're going to have the next few years, if not decades, full of your adventure writing and crime novel writing, and the more gruesome murders that will be piling up in Aberdeen, fictional, of course, as a result. And you have done that from, the kind of comfort of your own home, from your laptop and dining room table. We talk about that at the start of the program, about the necessity entrepreneur, the rise of the home worker, and we're seeing that very much in these circumstances that we all find ourselves in right now. What would be some of your tips and advice if you have an idea for either a book or a business or whatever? What are some of the sort of tips or encouragement that you would give those considering following a similar path, Deborah?
Definitely, as a writer, if I was to give an advice to someone starting out, it would be, first of all, you have to believe. But secondly, and probably most importantly, you need to turn up to the desk. You need to make it as important in your week as anything else. an appointment for the kids, an appointment for your work, a work meeting, whatever it is, it needs to be just as important. And you need to keep turning up to the desk, even on the days when you're staring at a blank screen thinking it's going to go nowhere. Just keep chipping away, because you never know where it's going to lead to. It can happen. I didn't believe it would ever happen to me, and it has, you know.
Yep. And I guess ultimately, you know, putting that effort in, tenacity, just kind of working away, because you're relatively honest in the fact that you feel that your introduction into publishing, you got that lucky break.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone is as quick to turn their first novel into a publication, but I'm guessing what you would say is that's no reason to give up. Continue going, keep feeling encouraged by the opportunities that are out there.
Definitely. And one of the best things to take from this in my own situation is I have 2 children, and, you know, as you'd expect, they're my world. And to be able to show your children that anything is possible, that if you chase your dreams, you know, that it can come true, and that never think that something's not attainable. You know, you reach for it and you work hard enough for it. You never know where it'll bring, or where it'll take you, and what it'll bring.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Deborah, that's a fantastic, encouraging and inspiring note to finish our 12 and a half minutes. It goes past very quickly in the blink of an eye, flies past. So thank you for your time and for giving us a little bit of information on who you are. And clearly, we'll make sure that we, both books, I guess, are potential stocking fillers for this time of year. Deborah, let's just remind us of that title that you've got in front of us in your second one that's coming out.
Debut was Hold Your Tongue, and the second one, which I don't have a proof of for a shameless plug, was Out for Blood. And if anyone would like to fill their stocking, keeping me in the post. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks indeed. See you later on now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was the fantastic Deborah Masson telling us a little bit about her journey into the gritty world of crime novel writing, and we wish Deborah all the very best. So our next 12 and a half minutes in a fortnight, we'll be going from the world of crime fiction to comic book crime fighting. And did you know that our Glasgow has its very own first black superhero? And we'll be speaking to the person who is behind the creation of that superhero in Glasgow. Etienne Kouabo will be joining us for 12 and a half minutes, and that goes out on the 20th of November. So we're really looking forward to chatting with Etienne. Please do join us then on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. But in the meantime, be brave.